Hey, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Catch That, where we break down albums, songs, artists, and eras, and much more of R&B. I am Naturally Elise, and that's my bro.
JR.
And we are the R&B representatives. And we are welcoming back should be a familiar face to fans. We are bringing back one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, one of my bestest friends, Miss Loryn Wilson Carter. Hello.
Hello, hello. Always great to be here.
Yes. So, Loryn, just for the new folks, tell them a little bit about yourself, and then
Sure.
we will jump into stuff.
Sure. My name is Loryn. I am in Maryland, the DC area, on the Maryland part of that of the area. I'm originally from South Central, as we talked about before on the show. I am a communication strategist, a writer, a tarot reader, a sometimes baker, um, a feminist, womanist, and yeah, that's when and also I love music. I'm a vinyl collector. Someone told I have over 100 records, and someone said, "Oh, that's a lot." I said, "Not really, because some people have thousands of them. Like I literally have a modest collection, like compared to a lot of people." So
Yes. Well, JR, how
Yes.
about you tell the folks what we're going to be talking about today and a little bit about why? And then after that, we'll ask Loryn why she decided to talk about this with us today.
I'm so excited for this episode too, because we did Catch That Minis and Lauren was the first one, and we was like, yo, we don't know how this is gonna go. And baby, it went well. So Catch That Mini because of her, and like for her to come over to the Catch That side. And I'm just so excited to talk about this album, y'all, because we are talking about Janelle Monae's ArchAndroid, the ArchAndroid. And yo, I'm so glad because everybody try to come on this show and thinking that me and Elise only want to talk about 70s and 80s albums, and that's not true. So we like, y'all, we want to talk about new albums too. It's great to talk about those, but we want to talk about new albums. So when I saw Lauren said that she want to talk about this, I was like, let's go, let's go, let's go. Very dear to me anyway. So I'm ready to really get into this album. So Lauren, so why did you pick this album?
Yes. So it took me weeks to figure out which album I was going to talk about. At least I don't know if I told you how tough of a decision this was. Like I literally could not think of any. It was like it was almost like my mind was like blanking. I'm like, gosh, what can I talk about? And I don't even know why. It just almost like it dropped into my spirit. It was like, no, it's got to be the ArchAndroid. So I'll say this. I love the ArchAndroid and also like that whole series of albums. So starting with Metropolis, then we have ArchAndroid, then we have what is it? Is that Electric Lady?
Yes.
Then we have Electric Lady. Then we have Dirty Computer. If you saw that as kind of a canon of work, this album, and as she talked about it in that great Rolling Stone where she comes out as where Janelle comes out as pansexual, where we then learn that the android is actually an allegory for her experience and her journey of self-discovery, and in terms of her queer identity.
Yes.
We realized that the android, and in fact, when she first started coming on the scene, especially with ArchAndroid, she would do different, interviews and stuff, and people would ask her like, oh, are you dating anybody? What are you into? And she would say, I only date androids. Like it was very much almost method acting for her. So yes. So first of all, I'm coming into this album and I'm listening to this album as a remember when we were talking about sapphic R&B way back? And I was saying that there are very few examples of femmes, queer femmes, people who are femme identified or have femme representation, talking about their queer life, talking about their queer journey. So it's almost like this album, I see this album in particular as her Channel Orange. That, of course, that's Frank Ocean's Channel Orange. So there's that piece. Secondly, she is giving us pretty much almost like a sample platter of like all of her musical influences. So you
Yes.
have a little bit of everything on here. So yes, from the technical aspect, the musical aspect, that's why the significance of it. This is also we're still in the era of the concept album at this point. One of the last, like, I won't say last, but around 2010, 2012, and really before that, there were like quite a few concept albums. This happened before Good Kid, Mad City, by the way, which is the quintessential hip hop concept album, right?
Yeah.
Um, you know, so yeah, so anyway, yeah, so we have this, we're at this peak era of like what a concept album could look like, etc. We don't get very many of them at this time in the R&B genre. So for that reason, I mean, why wouldn't I want to talk about this one? We have what is, to me, a damn near perfect concept album from a woman. Okay. I'll get to film presentation in a minute because somebody says I'm a stupid on the internet as per usual, and I want to address that too. But on a personal note, this album came out summer of 2010. And in the summer of 2010, I had to move home unexpectedly. I had been diagnosed with depression and anxiety and a bunch of other things, and had spent, a good 10 days in a hospital, just kind of trying to get some treatment for myself. And right before then, this album had come out, and I was listening to it nonstop. I almost had fixated on it, probably because it was kind of helping me, kind of find a healthy distraction. When I came home and got settled, one of the first things I did after being home, for a little while, is buy the album. And yeah, it's one of those albums that got me through a whole lot. Cold War specifically, which I'll get to tonight as well. Just really, that album was just a bomb for me, especially as someone who, I won't say I was not necessarily struggling with my identity at that point, but it was just kind of like getting used to this idea that like, oh, that's what's going on with me. that
Right.
I may or may not be queer. So that's why. It's a phenomenal example. If you ask me what a concept album was, this is one of the albums I would show you. She really plays with genres on this album in a way that she doesn't quite do on the other albums. And yeah, so one thing I do want to address, yes, I am referring to Janelle Monae as a femme. A lot of people, first of all, I'm going to use they them pronouns because they do use she they. I may do it interchangeably here. But what annoyed me was the person who decided to hop on Missy Elliott's internet and say, "Oh, I would have known that, Janelle Monae was. Well, I would have known Janelle Monae was way finer if she wasn't dressed like the Monopoly Man." Let me tell you something.
Go on.
There is a whole. First of all, Josephine Baker would like a word with you, sis. Like, that's ridiculous. It was a very silly thing to say. There is a whole subgenre of Black women in suits. First of all, like, Janelle was not the first person to do it. Josephine Baker did it before her. There was a Harlem Renaissance performer. Her name is escaping me right now. If I find it, I will show it. I will send it to you. Who also famously performed in suits. Freaking Janet was doing it before her. So I don't know what y'all are talking about, that like a woman cannot also, like someone who is mostly femme cannot also dress androgynously in a way and still be femme. Like, that's ridiculous. So that was annoying to me. But I'm referring to her referring to them as a femme for the sake of this conversation, especially because she uses she they pronouns. So, but because it's Women's History Month, I just wanted to also say that. So yeah, that's why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So interesting fun fact. So I have the vinyl here, and I like now I very seldom buy brand new albums.
Mhm.
As far as like in the plastic off the presses, those are usually ones that people buy for me
Right.
as gifts. So it's like really no need
Right.
for me to buy them. And I'm like a dick.
Yeah, same.
So
Yeah.
yeah, this is the first album that I bought that was a new album.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah. And
wow.
it was just so dear to me. And also to have the tangible of this artwork, of this
Ooh,
picture.
Oh,
listen, I really feel like, yes, we got the Dirty Computer movie, which was imperfect, but I was like, okay, it'll do. I really think we missed an opportunity to get a comic book, to get, an actual movie. Now she did give us a book, so maybe that's where she's going with the book. I have not read the book yet. Um, but yeah, the album cover is what really, I was like, oh, I wonder what she gonna give us with this one. Now I had listened to Metropolis. That was another one that I kind of fixated on around 2008 or so.
mhm.
So Sincerely Jane, actually still I go through periods where I'm listening to Sincerely Jane almost every day. Um, so yeah, she's just the cinematic quality also of this album. In fact, I actually wrote. I was listening to the suites, the overture, and there's a cinematic quality to that opening. She's establishing very early that Janelle is giving us a story, that they are giving us theater. They are about to give us a space opera. Okay,
Mhm.
that's what I enjoy most. In fact, the liner notes we're telling the story as it goes. Like that our main character Jane ends up being in this this facility because they decided there's something wrong with her. We know already what is wrong with her at this point. Um, she at some point falls in love with someone. That's what Mushrooms and Roses are about. But actually, I think there's that love story is weaved throughout this album. I first realized it actually, and I was re-listening to it recently. Um, the song Faster is when I realized, oh, this is talking about someone who is in love and doesn't want to be. So like faster and faster I should run. I didn't get the sense that this was somebody who was harmful to them. I get the sense this is someone who they are in love with that they feel they shouldn't be. They feel like maybe there's something, illicit about being in love with this person. So
Ah,
yeah,
You know
I'm
what?
wondering, yeah.
But I I kind of took it for literal
Hmm.
because of the some of the things she said where you melt my wings and call it fun. You
Mm-hmm.
kryptonite my life. You hide your chainsaw
brain
deep in your
thought.
Mm-hmm.
panther, and I
Yeah.
but I still can hear it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but that also makes sense because that can apply to forbidden love
A
or
forbidden love,
something you
right.
have to hide, and
Mm-hmm.
so that already kind of takes away
Mm-hmm.
from it before it can even start. Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. I gotta say, before we get to Faster though, Dance or Die is such a fantastic song. Um, I was at the time going through a huge Afrobeat phase, not Afro beats, which is what the kids are listening to now. First of all, I love Wizkid and them. Shout out to them. I'm talking about Fela Kuti. Okay, that's Afro beat with no S.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot of people seem to not be able to make the distinction, and also annoys me when we're talking about Afro beats without talking about Africa 70 in them. That annoys me because I'm like, how are y'all doing this without talking about that? Anyway, um, what I loved about this song is around that time in DC there was an Afrobeat party that would happen, like I think once a month, every Friday, or like one Friday a month. I can't remember, but that's how I got into Afrobeat. I had dated someone briefly who was Nigerian, and he actually introduced me to Fela Kuti. That is also how Water No Get Enemy became one of my favorite songs, because he actually also told me what the song was about. So I loved it so much. I was like, oh, she's giving us Afrobeat. But also Saul Williams being on here was very special to me, because I used to be a spoken word poet. Unfortunately, no, not unfortunately. Spoken word had its place. I just no longer like it the way I used to. But I used to perform. I was performing in Leimert Park. I was, publishing my poems in my school's literary magazine, stuff like that. I was the editor of literary magazine. So Saul Williams was it at the time. Slam was one of my favorite movies at the time. I got a chance to meet him a few times. The first time or second time was I was in Taos, New Mexico, spending the day with Ntozake Shange because I had won an essay contest where I wrote about her and got to meet her. And he was performing in a poetry slam competition. So I got to meet him then. I really, really enjoy his artistry. An album of this nature would just be missing something without Saul Williams, who, by the way, is also an Afrofuturist artist. I'm also considering this album and subsequent albums from Janelle Monae as Afrofuturist pieces of art. Especially
also,
when you,
and also, like when I wrote about it, I was like, this was very appealing to spoken word, at least, that existed in 2010 because of the Saul Williams feature on there. So it's like the song had me at hello. Like I think even if it would have not been the best of songs, I probably would have still rocked with it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Just off the strength.
Yeah.
This was kind of my introduction to Janelle. So like I only knew Many Moons. So when I got the album and I got to this record, I was like, yo, she come in not playing. Like music, I was like, because of course I'm gonna find out like who she's influenced by and all this kind of stuff and all that. And I was like, when that joint comes in, I'm like, yo, I get the JBs, I get Prince, I get Lauryn Hill, I get all of these. And I was just, she's spitting and she's singing, and it's just like, and then the words off the break was like, these dreams are forever. These dreams are forever. And it's like I was finding JR, so I needed a lot of these lyrics, like lyrically so bold. You know what I'm saying?
That song really hit me because at the time, again, I had to go home, and I won't say I was forced to go home, but I had to go home. Okay, I needed to go home and just focus on nothing but taking care of myself. But that meant that I had no job, I had no money, I had no car. I lived in my mama's house, and I was in LA. I didn't have a lot of friends either, so I spent a lot of time wanting to be somewhere else, and probably, I did end up, going back to DC a little too soon. That's a whole other story for another conversation. But in that moment, I remember spending a lot of time daydreaming, trying to figure out what kind of world I actually wanted to build for myself. In a lot of ways, this album is about that, her trying to figure out where her place in the world is. Especially as she's also working through all of these other, intersecting identities, if you will.
And conversely, you were building a new world, but you were listening to an artist that was building a world musically and lyrically.
The world building here, yes.
So it worked both ways,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And then, Dance or Die, I love the transition into Faster.
Yeah.
Oh my God. On this album is freaking amazing, man.
Oh yeah. Her transitions, people be sleeping on them, because I'll tell you what another clean ass transition was. The one between what was it? The one between Screwed and Django Jane on Dirty Computer. That shit was clean.
Oh, what? I used to talk about that on my timeline, like I'm like, y'all are not realizing that transition. It was so clean. Yeah. Oh God, yes. Oh God.
Yeah. And I want to go back and say something before we go even further in the album.
Yeah.
And this is something I see a lot. Well, not just on social media, just from talking to people in general.
Yeah.
That don't understand Janelle as an artist, and I think it's because they go into her projects with an unfair expectation, because they're going in I hate to say it, anytime we see a Black artist, we think they need to do traditional R&B. And no, everybody doesn't have to do that.
Yep.
And it doesn't make them any less Black. And in my mind, it don't make it any less R&B to me, honestly. It's just a different, just different pieces of the same pie, you know? And I think people go in listening, wanting to hear one of those albums. And so they instantly pan it.
Yeah.
Because it's not on genre the way that they want. Or think that that's the only one that exists.
Oh yeah, I remember when this album first came out, people were like, "Oh, what is this? What do these liner notes mean? Why is she making up words?" First of all words are fucking made up, for one. Second of all, that was the blackest thing about it to me, because Black people, the way we make up words, the way we redefine words,
come on,
it is ancestral. You know, even the way she names herself, right? So, you know, she goes through all these things. We know that Jane is her, right? We also know that Cindy Mayweather may or may not also be her, right? By the time we get to not Say You'll Go, there gets to be a point in this space opera of a story, right, where she seems to have gotten this was 57821. So she seems to have gotten this assignment from, I believe, is Cindy Mayweather. But I also think Cindy Mayweather is part of her. It might also it's her and not her. So I don't know if you all watched Lovecraft Country. And if you have not watched it, the one episode you must watch is the I Am episode. That is the one that centers on Hippolyta, played by the fantastic Anjanou Ellis, another queer icon in and of herself. Where she goes through this, bends this time-space continuum, starts time traveling. She finds herself in this spaceship, and this woman comes in with this big afro, like kind of a god figure, and asks her to name herself. For a while, she couldn't name herself. They go through this a couple times. The last time she says, like, just randomly, like, I want to be in Paris with Josephine Baker. Boom, she's in Paris having a love affair with Josephine Baker. So this idea of, like, being able to shapeshift, if you will, to name ourselves, to rename ourselves, to become one with God, right? Because in some ways you can see this album as like an opportunity for her to see God in a new way, right? So like when we like, what I love about O Maker, I'm jumping around a little bit, but O Maker, is, yes, she can be talking about the divine love, right? But she's also talking something about, because she says, it's amazing that your love was mine. So I'm wondering if there's also a little bit of unrequited love, if you will, happening here too. But at the very end, and I just realized it when I was listening to it this week, at the very end, there's a faint organ just playing the chords of the song. So it's, in a lot of ways, like, and I will say, a lot of queer Black folks, especially the ones who are churchy like I am, because I'm still churchy, I just don't go to church, talk a lot about how queerness is divine, how trans identity, how trans people are divine, right? So in a lot of ways, this is about that too. But I don't want to get that far. I'm sorry. I know you all have a lot of questions. I have a lot to say, obviously.
Yeah. And I actually, I'm fine with jumping over, but I actually want to go in order because it is a story. Like,
right.
But you got points. Yes, especially we'll get to O Maker, because I have some things to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah. So then from Faster, and one thing I also said about Faster, I love the sense of humor she has lyrically through it, even though it's about this dysfunctional or made by the world to seem dysfunctional thing, depending on which way you go. But she has such a sense of humor about it.
Yeah,
I like that. Which carries through the album. There's some other parts where she kind of, that humor or silly kind of comes out.
Yeah,
Mhm.
her songwriting on here is particularly strong.
Oh,
I thought it was strong out the gate, like, Metropolis, great songwriting, but here I was like, "Oh, sis, you." She really has it. Also, like, I would be, even with Faster, especially her songwriting is often, she has a very similar approach to songwriting in terms of the way that she uses hyperbole, the way she uses metaphors. Very similar to Stevie Wonder in that way.
oh yeah.
People always talk all the time about the way that for someone who is vision impaired, the fact that he can still see these very vivid, he has these very vivid uh, uh, images in his mind, right? But also, like, that's, personally, I believe anybody can have that kind of talent. It's not tied to ability or lack thereof. So um it doesn't, being disabled does not take that away from someone. So yeah, her songwriting is very much similar to Stevie Wonder's. But yeah, Faster is a great song. In terms of the genre, it sounds a lot like that indie rock that was coming up in the 2010s, early 2000s. So like the Strokes, Franz Ferdinand and them.
Yeah.
Even I'll put Noisettes. I love Noisettes, but Noisettes in them. I'm like, I was not expecting any kind of rock influence to anything on this album, because remember, I too came in thinking it was going to be more like R&B, more like on the lines of Metropolis. I was not expecting them to bend bend genres this way, and also kind of push the envelope musically the way that they did.
Right. Right.
Well, I think I came into it not came into it, but once I heard it, I was cool with it. It was a breath of fresh air for me, because 2009, 2010 was not the best year for traditional R&B, or even for the more commercial stuff. It won't a whole lot out.
No.
It wasn't that, oh, I don't like this. No, it wasn't a lot of stuff out, period.
I needed
When I
fresh.
looked through what albums were out in the charts, it just wasn't a lot of albums, just numerically, let alone
Oh wow,
really great.
interesting.
It
Yeah,
wasn't.
this is because I'm trying to think what else came out around that time, or around in that year. This is the same year that He Who Shall Not Be Named. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Return of the Ankh. That's another one that got me through.
Right. You had
I think
Still Standing that was out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Usher.
Raymond versus Raymond. Yeah. It was like you needed this. It was like a breath.
We needed this. Yeah.
Because it was like it was getting on my nerves that everybody was starting to sound the same, even in the R&B way. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was like, I see my Prince of Janelle, because he was like, oh, she's putting all of these influences into this record, and it's different from what everybody else was doing. Because y'all know Prince is always like, let me see what's happening.
Looking. Yes, and by the way, Prince, also someone who was mentoring Lizzo, he mentored a lot of artists that started popping about 5 to 10 years later. But that's a whole, you could do a whole you could do a whole series on that. But yeah, now also, I want to say Prince is a genre, okay? Janelle does not get to her Prince era, as it were, probably not until Electric Lady. However, Cotton has a whole song with him that I love. Oh, love that song. But that's giving them what they want. Giving them what you want. Giving them what they want, I think is the name of the song. Love that song. Yeah, but doesn't quite get into her Prince era on this album. But she does touch it a little bit.
So that's why I think even with Faster a little bit, she touches it, because I'm like, I get a little bit of Let's Go Crazy-ish. So I was just like, okay. I was like, I see. It was just me after coming out of, Dance or Die and going into this. I was just like, this is fresh. Like, I'm like, ooh, like, where have I been? You know what I'm saying?
It sounded so new. That's what it was. And like at the time, like, I was not seeing in Technicolor at the time. Okay.
Mhm.
It just sounded so new, and I needed something around that time when I was in LA. Sometimes, the only thing that I had to look forward to was new music. So new music would come out. I would obsess over it. I listened to this album all summer. That's what I was doing. If you asked me what I was doing in 2010, child, I was listening to ArchAndroid all summer. so, um,
Mhm.
so after Faster, what do we have? We have
Yeah,
Lock it.
faster, we have Locked Inside.
One of my
And
oh
yeah,
friends.
oh
and I was like, Jay already know that I'ma like this song because it's a what, JR? Besides that. But what is it?
uh, it's an Elite song.
It's a groove.
it's
A
a
groove.
groove. Yeah, it was very much a
I'm
yeah.
sorry. I
And
want
by
no.
the way,
With a Michael sample. Like,
yes,
come on. Come
it's
on,
that off
somebody.
it's off the wall MJ, which by the
Very,
way, I'm just gonna say it. I'm not
very
gonna
right.
say it's the best MJ. I'm gonna say that off the wall MJ is my favorite MJ. I'm not going to argue or take questions at this time. That is where I'm at.
Cough,
Okay.
cough, best, cough, cough. Sorry.
Call, call.
Listen, I'm trying to be diplomatic here, okay? Um, I think I have an unpopular opinion about Michael Jackson. I don't know if this is the place to put it, but I guess we should because Locked Inside is a Michael Jackson homage, if you will.
Absolutely.
I think after Off the Wall, and you could say possibly after Thriller, Michael Jackson does the thing where he kind of starts to kind of be a little gimmicky. Not in like a bad way. He's wonderful. He's a fantastic entertainer. I'm not taking that away from him. But he did the thing where he became more of a caricature than an artist. I'm not saying that Bad isn't awesome. That's a fantastic album. Or Dangerous, they were great. Dangerous was a New Jack Swing album. But there was something very unique about Off the Wall that he seems to kind of let go of after that. And
Yes.
it kind of makes me a little sad. So, you know, I'm just that's where I'm at, okay? I am not gonna go back and forth with nobody. But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Oh, I can't say that I disagree.
No, not at all.
Now look, the
Something,
last
and I
time
think it's a thing that happens when a lot of people get that big, or
mm-hmm,
even not get some matter of goodness. They
mm-hmm.
let go a lot of the magic that is what made them special because
Yes.
they're kind of now they're instead of a man for themselves, they're a man for the people, for the fans, and
Yes.
it's kind of
Right.
Yes. After Off the Wall and after Thriller, he kind of becomes like he does become a god among men. And he loses sight of that. Now some artists use that as an opportunity to say, well, fuck it, since I'm a god among men, I'm gonna do what I want. His sister did that. You can argue that Beyonce did that too. I'm not gonna go too far in the weeds about that because I actually think Lemonade was her best work. I wrote a whole essay about it. Anyway, but back to MJ and Locked Inside. Love this song. A lot of times, Afrofuturism, we think about it, Afrofuturism, we think about it as like, about robots and like, time travel and like aliens and shit like that. But this is also like, Afrofuturism is also about giving Black people the space and the freedom to dream, okay? To actually do some fucking world building that doesn't involve us being in chains, okay? So I love this song so much. There's a part in the song where she says, the color black means it's time to die and nobody questions why, right? So she's also, I'm wondering if she listened to MLK's speech where he's talking about how people say black like it's a bad thing, basically. But it's also this idea of like love as the answer to injustice, right?
Yeah.
She's locked inside, you know, kind of like a land of foolish pride, right? So she's talking about also how she's perhaps in some ways like a cage of her own making, right? I'm thinking a lot about the in the traditional tarot, the devil card. People get all weird when the devil card comes up, they get scared. But the thing about the devil card is that like at any point, the two figures in it could take that chain off of themselves and decide that they can be free. So it's often a lot around like, having this idea of like nothing to lose but your chains, you know. But yes, so like when I think about this particular song, getting back to this idea of like love is the answer to injustice, you also have a little bit of like almost like Octavia Butler's approach to this world building idea that we're talking about here. Um, in in the parable of the sower, Loryn starts the main character. She starts talking about Earthseed, this new spiritual path that she created at the end of the world, if you will, where she talks about how whatever you touch, you change. Whatever you change, changes you. The only constant truth is change. God is change, right? So this idea that like Afrofuturism is about imagining what those changes look like. What would it mean for us to be free? Because the locked side is also about like she talks about wanting to get to the other side, right? The very end of that song where that's also this is one of those songs that could have gone for hours, for maybe not hours, similar to Another Star in that way, how like we really could just go on and on and on and on, because in Black music we also have one of the characteristics of Black musical culture is elastic time. That's why when the church vamp comes on at church, y'all can be there for another 30-45 minutes if you want to. That end of it when she goes, I'm not going to attempt to sing because I'm no longer a soprano, but she says, I love you so, and I'll never let you go. It's like, again, like, so weaved through the album is this undying love she has for someone or something. Maybe that someone is herself, right? But I love how she, again, that whatever that love story is, and there's a lot of ways it can be interpreted, you cannot deny the love story or love affair that is happening in this goddamn album. Yeah, like you've got like robots and shit. You've got maybe a psych ward of some sort. And you have those like traditional sci-fi themes. But nah, this is a love story,
Yeah. Well, don't all our love lives. We have some robots, and we have some psych hospitals, and we have some, catastrophes, and but we have some good dancing too, and we have joy, and we have that makes sense that you have all this stuff going on. That's sci-fi. That's why the center of a lot of sci-fi is some sort of love story, because those obstacles exist in our real world and in in our Afro future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is definitely one of my favorites because the first 15 seconds feel like freedom to me. Like it felt very to me. Like it was like her voice feels like freedom to me. Like I think it during this time it gave me some type of hope. It opened freedom for me. And
yes.
And then when that beat comes in, like it just
what is it? The rock with you, the rock with you drums. Yeah.
Right. And you got that, and you kind of ready to boogie. You know what I'm saying with this joint? And I think with this, the first two verses to me, she was talking about injustice. That's what I got for sure. Because when she says, the first line when she says, "I'm locked inside of a land full of foolish pride," and where the man is always right. Right then and there, I was like, okay, Janelle, I know where you going with this. Because then further along, she goes, "On real cold days, he loans us lots of hate, but says that we must pay." Right then and there, I was like, yeah, she's talking about us and what we deal with in this world. You know what I mean? And I was just like, whoa, like her pen. That's why I had to go back. Like, wait a minute, what did she just?
Yes, and she's dreaming of a world where we are free, and it's just
free.
yeah. Yes.
Took me. This is the first song on the album that I had to go back. Was like, wait a minute, what did she say? I literally had to like, whoa, and for her to do that into a beat like this, that's why I also like it, because it's a message in it, but you can still party.
You can still, yeah. You know, I really feel like we got to a point in like discourse about Black music where we think an album can either be fun or it can be a message. Yep. And I'm like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Like, did y'all not, because did Curtis Mayfield not give us Move On Up 12 minutes of us just jamming to it? Is that not a song about us, about freedom?
Right.
Like, please, stop doing this. Stop doing this.
Oh God.
It's like, and it's like you did know that most of James Brown's songs were political, but we was dancing.
So many of them. Yeah. And then it's also like, you know, they do this thing, people do this thing where if an album is just fun, right? They're like, oh, they're not talking about nothing. How they talking about twerking and shit and people die? It's people out here dying. Okay, then they decide, okay, fuck it, okay, fine. This is exactly what happened with Beyonce, right? She didn't come, okay, fine, cool. Here's Lemonade. Here is an album and a film, well, really a film, that also explores Black spirituality. Ugh, why is she trying to be woke all the time? You know, because it's just
you can't win.
So you cannot win.
So you just art. Like Zoe got a shirt. Yeah. Let the artist art.
Yeah.
Let them art.
Yeah, you can't win, you can't get even, you can't get out of the game, okay? So
if you like it, roll with it and tell other people. If you don't like it, that's fine too.
Move on.
Yeah. It's very, and also I love this is pretty much Janelle's approach to music. Like, if you like it, great. If you don't like it, fuck it. You know, in fact, when that girl said that spicy shit about her looking like the Monopoly man, she then retweeted her with a quote and said, see, just for this, y'all not getting no new music then.
And then
I said, Janelle, why? And they gave us new music.
Then she gave us the kissy face afterwards. I said, yo.
You know what? Because she knew it was bullshit. That's why. You tried to fuck with me. That's why. Like that.
You want to troll me? Well, I'm going to troll you right back.
Troll you right back, baby. No, if y'all
that kissy face was really bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, if y'all don't get no new music for a little while, it's her fault, okay? Because she over here talking that shit, learning it for everybody.
If y'all look under the of the tweets or whatever, you look under there. A lot of them like, Janelle, we didn't mean it. I don't know.
I didn't mean it.
Yeah, they did a Loryn. They did a Loryn. How I get in it?
Right.
We all got something. It's very similar to you're in school. Somebody, the class clown, wants to act up. All of a sudden, none of y'all getting pizza on Friday. Then it's like, God damn, for real? That's enough for everybody. So yes, Locked Inside, beautiful song. One of my favorites.
Oh, this question. Do y'all feel like this is kind of pre-Ghetto Woman? Or the...
Ooh, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do think it is. I think it is I do think that it is a not foreshadowing. It is companion song to rather, yes, Ghetto Woman is a companion song to this one. Of course, that one is giving us Stevie Wonder. Ghetto Woman also kind of reminds me of Golden Lady a little bit. Mm-hmm. Just the way the chords are. Golden Lady, of course, is one of my favorites. One note on Golden Lady: we do not get Beyonce modulating the way she does on at the end of Love on Top without the modulation on Golden Lady. I will die on that hill. Because it comes from somewhere. Like you got to learn that from somewhere. I wish more artists would play with modulation. I think part of it is that most people ain't got the vocals for it. They
Yeah.
ain't got the vocals.
Yeah, if you
The
can't
last,
sing, you ain't going out no lane and trying to figure out something new or something hard.
yeah,
You trying,
yeah. Beyonce,
you're
Mariah are
locked
probably the
inside your lane.
two. Yeah, the two living. Well, Beyonce and Mariah are probably the two living artists who could pull it off. Maybe Ariana Grande. I ain't trying to give her too much on here, but the range you would have no, because you would have to. I love Ariana, but this is not her time right now. We're not talking about that. But like like you have to have the range to do it. A lot
Yeah,
of artists right now do not have the range to do the level of modulation, because what we also know is that Love on Top, in the original cut, she actually goes up 2 more times, but that ends up not making the final cut of the album. So, but again, these are people who have trained their vocals, right? Nobody can do that. Probably Janelle could. Janelle probably could. One thing about her vocals here, Jr., you said that her voice sounds like freedom. I've always thought that Janelle Monae vocally has one of the clearest, cleanest vocals
agreed.
I have in the industry. I'm just gonna say it. Um, there's a lot. I do think there are more good vocalists than we think. Um, of course, I love Durand. I love Jasmine Sullivan. This new girl, Samara Joy, beautiful, beautiful voice. They
Love
don't
her.
have that clear as a bell quality the way
Mhm.
that Janelle does. That does not mean they're not fantastic singers. But when you think clear as a bell, like Jasmine has a beautiful voice. She's got that edge to it, though. She has an edge voice, like that kind of that rasp in her voice. She got a big voice, a big church voice, right? Janelle does have that same churchy vocal, which she does not run away from. But again, the clarity, very much, I won't say operatic, but I think if she wanted to, she could give us that. Jill has that too a little bit, but Jill's constantly trained. So, yeah, I just think that generally speaking, Janelle has a very clear vocal. She has very bright vocals, especially on this song.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. I agree.
mhm.
So then we go to Sir Green Down.
You know what?
And what I wrote about that was it was giving big Rotary Connection vibes.
Ooh,
Ooh.
It
thank
was
you.
giving very Rotary
Mhm.
and like debut album mini vibes, mini represent vibes.
Yes. I would
Okay.
love to see Janelle do a cover of La Fleur. I would love to see that. That's also one of my favorite songs. But yes, I was wondering when I was listening to it, I'm like, who is she channeling here? And that's who she's channeling. Yep.
What were you about to say, JR?
No, I was saying that I think she gave you and I from Talking Book. Musically,
Mm.
they're kind of the same musically, not vocally. Because now about the whole mini debut thing, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
It was giving me like Stevie's You and I, like we conquering the world. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yes, the themes. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, it gave me that. And then the drums. One thing about this, the drums are low, but it can still be heard on this record.
Yes, the percussion. Yeah.
Yeah, like you can hear it, and it's like, oh, okay, I can still feel it. That's what I mean. Like the drums, I feel. But this record to me, I was just her Stevie influences all the way through this album, y'all. And one of them, and that's why I was like, I can definitely hear like You and I on this joint. So that's what
Yeah.
And yeah, she's like, meet me at the tower. I'm in love.
Yeah. Yeah. It's giving again. It's kind of giving like Romeo and Juliet sort of. Yeah, it's fantastic. Now I do wish folks still gave us interludes like this. We don't always get interludes often anymore. During this period, there were a few that were so short, that were really awesome but short, and that would really annoy me. So like, I feel like I would have loved to have gotten at least one more verse for Sir Green Down.
Yeah.
Very similar feeling to the frustration I feel when I listen to James Joint by Rihanna. How you gonna paint a picture like that and not at least give us a second verse? Now, to be fair, that's James Fauntleroy for you. He loves doing that shit. He loves giving us a small little snippet of a song and not giving us a second and third verse. But Sir Green Down, in and of itself, it seems like to be this, and it's a great bridge between the first half of the album and then we go right into Cold War, which is giving us a whole different vibe. Like, Sir Green Down is almost like she was chilling for a little bit. Maybe she got lost in the woods and met Sir Green Down. We're not sure. So, there's that,
And in a sense, it's, kind of like a play or an opera, that giving you a little intermission, giving you a little time to, it's just kind of more setting scene, transition. So, get up, stretch a little bit, because now I'm about to hit you real, real, real hard.
Listen, Cold War punched me in the face.
We're gonna give you this ethereal, fantastical, fucking orchestral shit, and then we about to do some shit.
I agree with, because I agree her interludes are like, there's about to be a transition. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because the first the first 3 joints, she's giving us dance. Like, we groove, and there's a groove to it. Now it's like, y'all, if y'all not listening to me lyrically, you're about to listen to me lyrically now. Like, if you didn't catch it on these other 3 that I just gave you and you went to the groove, fine. But when we get to this next joint, which is Cold War, I'm getting you lyrically. Like, lyrically, I'm in the face with this. Like,
and I'm gonna look up those lyrics now just so I have them out. That Cold War punched me in my fucking face. Okay.
Yep.
The album, or the video came out. Yes, the video debuted probably my first 2 weeks of being home. The video itself is wildly underrated, because it's just her, like straight on into, like looking straight into the camera. Those tears are real, as we know now. She starts crying around the same time I started crying in the song, because she says, "I'm trying to find my peace. I was made to believe there's something wrong with me." And then when she's like that, I'm gonna. I promised myself I would not cry on this episode, and I'm gonna try to hold myself to that. No, this is actually not the song. But yeah.
But I will say it's interesting. It's it's almost like the conversation, you're taking the words away from us, because everything you're saying, like some of it is verbatim. What I wrote down, I'm like, yeah. So it's very interesting to see it kind of all touched us in a very similar way. That's a cool connection. But but go ahead.
Because she says, like, when you step outside, you spend life fighting for your sanity. A lot of times when people, and this is something I learned after years of therapy, but like when you have like a mental health episode, a depressive episode, etc., it's never just the last thing that happened. It's never just my boyfriend broke up with me. It's never just, I just lost my job and boom, I'm depressed. It is a accumulation of things. For me specifically, it was an accumulation of things. Yes, I had to leave DC in part because I was exiting an unhealthy relationship, but also, like, I had gotten laid off earlier that year. I was going through all these, like, friendship changes, like, then you have the stuff that happened when you were in college, like all of those things, thing after thing. And so, you spend life fighting for your sanity in a world that doesn't want to hear it, So it's just, please go.
An interesting thing that Janelle was doing before this album, when she just had little singles and EPs, was it was always a theme of shedding something. Like, she had Letting Go, like, and that was early career. And like she
Yeah.
even then was talking about shedding skin or shedding situations
Yes.
or and reinventing and finding something else and
Yes.
being okay with that. Like being at
Mm-hmm.
peace with that, like letting go. That song is all about that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with that because this song was a coming out for me.
Mm.
And the reason why is I don't want to get emotional, but I probably will. When my cousin
Okay.
2010 and he passed from AIDS.
Mm.
And we knew how he got it, but it was like he really didn't tell us, but we knew.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
And right then and there, the song came out because this is how I actually got onto Janelle actually from this song.
Mm.
And you know, he was living his life in silence, basically.
Mm.
He couldn't.
Mm.
He wanted to be, and the part that got to me when she said, "If you want to be free, the underground is the only place to
Only
be."
place to be. Yes.
And I think that right there touched me. And this when I was dealing with my shit during this time. And I just remember I was like, I can't hide no more. I can't do
Mm-hmm.
him. He couldn't do this. He couldn't say who he wanted to be. And I have a voice and I'm always outspoken. I can't hide this anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
when she said, I'm trying to find my peace, I was made to believe there's something wrong with me. When you're like this, you think there's something wrong with you.
You do.
And you
Yeah.
think it's a problem with you. And everybody around you think that there's something wrong with you. And
Mm-hmm.
and that line broke me. It broke me. And I was just like, I can't do this no more. It was after he passed. I was like, I'm gonna come out for him. Because he couldn't. He couldn't.
Mm.
And thank God that I got my best friends, Alicia, Nikita, Shelly. I was able to say it. I never got
Mm.
a chance to say it. And when I
Mm.
said it, it was like letting go of so many things. And it was like a burden came off of me. And as soon as I did that, I looked outside and it was a sunshine and I knew that was him.
Mm.
I knew that was him saying, thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
You were able to do it and you're doing it for us. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And I knew, come on, I know I was a part of this community since 2007. But again, I was just like, no, I'm hiding this. I'm not dealing with it. And I just remember
Mm-hmm.
seeing him in the hospital and it was in my face. And it was like, oh no, you're going to deal with this now. And when I heard this, it helped me. And when I knew that I was all right when she did the performance at the Grammys with her
Mm.
and Bruno and B.O.B. And out of all the songs she picked this.
This one.
She
Mm-mm-mm.
picked this one out of all songs. Y'all, I broke down because the ad-libbing that she was doing and all that, it was a moment for me. And I think if Janelle actually sees us, I want to thank her for writing
Yes.
lyrics that help me come out to myself, help me do it for him. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
for me, but I also did it for him because he wasn't able to. And this song helped me do that. And for me to be really introduced her through this, because I know Tightrope was out and all that,
Yeah.
Remix was out and all that. But this is the song that got me. And I would not be JR that you all guys know if it was not for this record. So I really want to thank Janelle for this record.
Yeah.
It helped me. And I know my cousin is looking above now is like, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Because I wasn't able to do that. So this
Yeah.
is everything to me. So that's why this is a
Yeah.
record for me, man. For real.
Oh, JR, thank you so much for sharing that with
Yeah.
us. And I know for a fact he is so proud of you,
Yeah.
especially now.
Oh, yeah.
I had a similar experience with it. The part that really gets me, first of all, she has this, I I guess, yes, it's kind of like a bridge when she says, bring wings to the weak and bring grace to the strong. May all evil stumble as it flies in the world. All the tribe crumbs and the mighty will crumble, but we must brave this night and fall, have faith and love. Then she says, I'm going to find my peace. I was made to believe there's something wrong with me and it hurts my heart. Lord, have mercy, and it plain to see. I just, woo! And because that is and the thing is, I was made to believe there's something wrong with me. I had to hear that because also when I don't know if y'all have ever been hospitalized for depression and whatnot, they really do be talking to you like you have fucked up. Like there's something wrong with you, right? And I'm someone who was already thinking that I was a little bit weird. But like the phrasing there is like, no, now I know for a fact there's nothing wrong with me. I was lied to. I am at war with the people who made me hate myself. Like that, like, yeah, knowing that, hearing something like this and hearing, actually, there's nothing wrong with me, you know? It's just such a fantastic song. Still very, very, very relevant to the current moment. This is going to be the kind of song that I will be talking to my grandkids about, to my nieces and nephews about. This is the defining song on this album to me. If you ask me to play a track, what was ArchAndroid about? Oh, I'm gonna play this song. You know, just I don't even know what more to say. It's just so. It is her magnum opus to me. Cold War is it.
And then after you cry all your eyes out for Cold War, she hand you a glass of water, a tightrope, so you can get yourself together.
Yeah. She brought,
yeah. You know, freshen up, you know, like, okay. And I said, you know, it's such a great placement after Cold War because it's showing there's still joy. It could be a tenuous or a shaky joy, but there's room for celebration and liberation.
Yes.
It's not just a serious thing. No, you gotta dance. You gotta shout. You have to acknowledge it, celebrate.
I don't want no fight for liberation that ain't got no dancing. In fact, do not talk to me if that's not part of your revolution. Yeah.
And you know something she said in the song, and it really didn't hit me until a couple of days ago, the importance of the line. It didn't say celebrate because you won or because it's perfect. She says whether you're high
or low.
That's right. That's right.
This celebration is for everybody. Yep. Whether you got a little teeny thing to celebrate or you conquered the world, it's all worthy of some dancing, a little tipping, you know.
Yeah. The horn stamps here, love it. The way that the horn is almost its main character, it's like almost not the main character, but it's a whole ass character in the album, but also in the song. You know that. You know, this is James Brown. You know, you can't get too high. You can't get too high. You can't get too low. And you know, it's also giving us a little bit of gospel flair too. You know, that calm response, right? Then she brings in the horns. 1, 2, 3, 4. The staccato of it was so great because, and then the way it kind of also smooths out. You know, it's very much a two-step song. Anybody can dance to this song.
Yes, absolutely.
You know,
and this is just a side note because Jay, I know how I feel a lot about rap features. And this is an actually great rap feature.
It's a great one.
To where he's actually talking about what she's talking about in the song.
Oh yeah, phenomenal writing here. Yeah, yeah.
Like he won't just glommed on to the song.
Right.
No, he was part. You could tell he was a part of the creative process of the whole song.
Right.
Just by the way he's rapping, but that, you know, Mr. Patton, he's a musical mind in that way, so it made sense that he knew how to flow on it.
Yeah, it's just, and
I like when he does rap features on other people's stuff. I like he's one of the few that where I'm not like, but why?
Right.
Yeah, he's great. Like, I also love one thing about Big Boy that I really enjoy about him as a rapper is how he's able to like adjust his flow for damn near any kind of melody.
Yeah.
Because you don't quite know how this gonna work. But he comes in, you gotta keep your balance so you'll fall into the really it kind of reminds me of Andre 3000 on Millionaire, by Khalees, where he comes in and then another track where you're like, is this gonna work for real?
Yo!
Is this shit gonna work for real? But he comes in.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's a very astute observation right there. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
There are keys, there are rats. Wherever there are rats, there are cats. Wherever there are cats, there are dogs. Yeah, it's just if you got the dogs, you got bitches. Bitches, he kind of just This is it's very similar to Andre 3000 on Millionaire. The way they're able to adjust both their lyrical content and their flow to be in lockstep with the melody. Some of these young rappers don't know how to do that yet, but they're young, so we don't give them time. We're gonna pray for them, okay?
Yeah.
So, just a great song, especially because she takes the energy down a little bit, almost like it's like Cold War shadow work. It's almost like she's dealing with the shadowy parts of her identity, and then they bring us back up with Tightrope. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and then we get Neon Gumbo, which is your futuristic interlude. It's kind of getting you ready for the next, kind of chapter, if you will, or the next.
But also, she takes the I think it's not from Many Moons. I think it may have been from Violet. It's from Many Moons. Again, the organ from Many Moons is in there. In the liner notes, she talks about how she's inspired by that scene in Purple Rain when the kid had actually played a song backwards, which I don't think it was the title track, but one of these songs backwards, and there was somebody crying on the track, but he had spun that backwards as well. So again, giving us touching Prince just a little bit. Does a little bit on Faster, does it on Mushrooms and Roses. She goes full Prince era on Electric Lady to me, though. So.
Oh yeah. And then it's like the ending. I love when you give something familiar. This is now we going back to the EP when she's ending with Many Moons. That's what's playing backwards. Is the ending. If you listen, Moons is the ending of that. Like that. Yeah, so that's Many Moons. So I was like, yo, and I always talk about that when people, when we do albums on here, I'm like, yo, give me something familiar. You know what I'm saying? Because this made me go back and listen to Metropolis. And I was like, oh, now some of this is making sense. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming into it just with this. I only knew moves and that was it. I didn't know the other stuff. So when I went back and then I was like, all right, I went through this one time, even though it took me a minute to get through it because I had to replay a couple of songs. But then I went back to Metropolis, was like, oh,
yeah.
It's now. I was like, oh.
Yes, in some way she's reminding us of where they came from, right? Yes. She's connecting it to the sequel. She's connecting the first part of this to the sequel. Yeah. Yes. This becomes the bridge. Yeah.
Indeed.
And perhaps in this moment, she is perhaps, if you're thinking about this as also a journey through her queerness, perhaps she's also almost like having like a flashback of who she used to be, where they used to go. Could be almost like, I don't want to say like PTSD, but like also if you realize that like there is this in the storytelling of the concept album, this is somebody who escaped an asylum, essentially, right? So could be more, sounds like the soundtrack to a nightmare or a dream sequence of some sort. So that's.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then we go into one of my favorite songs of life. In This Life. Like, period. I don't know if there's a song from the 2000s of all the things I love and listen to that I don't know if it's a song that I've played more because I I have never played that song one time and didn't run it back 5 more
Mm,
times. Like I don't
yeah.
think I've ever just listened to it once.
Mm-hmm.
It's in couplets and triplets and etc.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's just that raw, like the way she is singing, what her voice is doing, you
Mm-hmm.
just feel that hurt, especially it's like suffering and sinking, staying all the hurt.
Oh,
See, I'm really
the loss.
we
Yeah.
suffered a rare, rare blue. So much hurt
So much
on this
hurt.
earth, but you love me.
You loved me,
And I
and I
really dared. Now this
dared
this
to.
is really where the queer, like I
There it
really
is.
did it.
This shit
I
gay as
dared to
hell.
love
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. It's gay as hell. I love it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. No,
Perhaps what I mean to say is that it's amazing that your love was
Your love
mine.
was mine. Mm-mm-mm.
that I've
Yeah.
heard. Uh, that pen, Lord,
Hitting them.
Us.
They they really have a fantastic pen. I'm
yes.
wondering if they will settle into I believe what is their destiny of being a songwriter and executive producer. I love to see them do more of that in their
I,
later career. If they choose to do music again, I have some theories around why we haven't gotten an album from them since 2018. I think I think it has to do with Bad Boy, but that's and Diddy, but that's neither here nor there. Um, if that's what they want, to become a songwriter and like exec producer, I
yeah,
see it for her for sure.
I do too. I do too. Oh,
Like,
does this
oh,
give y'all like heaven is a 10 zillion light years away?
a little bit. Like in this you know, the second verse, oh maker, tell me, did you know that this love would burn so yellow, becoming orange in its time, explode from greater black than bloody wine.
Bloody wine.
Yeah. Oh maker, have you ever loved? They want to ask God, have you ever been in love before, nigga? Like,
And I can't imagine the bitter end of all
yeah.
the beauty that we're living.
Yeah. I hope that I get to see you again. Yeah.
I,
Oh,
I can't even this why
it's
it
like,
actually what this song is giving to me if you took out the beat it's very reminiscent of the folk music that I love.
yes.
Just take out the beat and you got a
Yep.
folk song.
Yep.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
that
yeah.
that guitar coming in at the beginning. It's very similar to some of the moments we get on Music of My Mind.
Yes.
You
Yes,
know,
Lord.
Brighter Than the Morning Sun. I think that's what it's
Yes.
called. Yeah, that's a folk song. Yeah, absolutely.
What you told me. No, it's giving like all of it because he's like, that's what you told me. Like it's
Yeah.
giving that
Oh,
same like yearning and longing and
yes.
ugh. So
Mm,
that's a good song
Yeah.
comparison because like in tone and
Hmm.
everything, like it's giving. It's giving.
okay.
Hmm. Yeah, but that really that kills me when she asks, like, hey, oh maker, have you ever loved? Like, you can't possibly know what I'm going, because what do we learn about God? That God doesn't need anything.
Nope.
Right? We
And she
even
like,
learn that, yeah.
and she asked him like, "Have you been in love? Did you ever feel this before?"
Yeah. It sounds like, again, like this, whoever she is talking to or singing about, this is someone who they loved each other. Perhaps it was brief, because I'm thinking about how, again, how it burned, it exploded, you know, and then, and then it faded in some way. So perhaps it's a situation where they didn't want to break up, or whatever. But again, when you live in the world that has the kind of villains that they're fighting in Cold War, so you're dealing with not only the challenge of being with another person, because it's a whole ass human being that is not without fault. You also have to deal with the systemic bullshit that makes it hard for you to love this person and to
Yeah.
love yourself, you know?
Mm-hmm. And then
Powerful
I think
song.
also, yeah, and I also think in this song, it's you know, with her talking to God or creator or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It when she says, "I can't imagine the bitter end," it's almost like you're God and you see all this beauty. We had all these colors, birds so yellow and orange and blah, and but you want me to imagine this ending? Like you want that from
Mm-hmm.
me, Maker?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's that too. You know,
Like what's up
the
with that?
yeah, the questioning of why would God want us to suffer, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, questioning that. There are a lot of actually theologians that question that idea, that concept of God, of being someone who will put us through bullshit so that we will like become closer to them.
it's
And
manipulative.
it's manipulative. It's generally what the school of thought around that is, that a lot of the gospel songs we listen to, um uh, uh they they describe a dysfunctional relationship, so with someone who just loves to see you suffering. So that's really something. Oh, what a song this is.
Yeah.
Just yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then once again, because I think Janelle know you was a little weepy. She need to wake you up
Yeah.
when I come alive,
Yeah, that listen, that bass at the beginning is that
baby.
thing is tough. Okay. Have you ever seen her do this song live?
No.
No, I haven't seen her live.
Lady. So I saw them live during the Electric Lady era.
Okay.
Neil and I went, and during this song, uh, she comes out into because all they had was just that bass going, and it gets really quiet, and she's like kind of doing the Michael Jackson thing with the voice where like she whispers a little bit, kind of does that. Yeah. So she's coming out in the aisle. She's like talking, getting all in people's faces. She like strokes this man's beard a little bit. It was wild. Like she also, I'm gonna try to find it on YouTube. She did a performance of the song for an event that Ralph Lauren did. She
Oh,
was
okay.
standing on tables and shit and like running through the damn, like a banquet hall. Great song. Come Alive is just the way she's also, again, parenthetical here is War of the Roses. So she's also reminding us that we are still at war with evil forces, that are after me, because remember, she escaped. They're now looking for her. Um, uh, yeah, it's a great song. Would love to hear from you, Elise.
Oh yeah, this song, the first thing that comes to my mind every time I hear it, it just gives me very Rocky Horror Picture Show vibes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
The way the way the voice, she does that spooky shit with her voice. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like it's so rockish, but it's so theatric. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess theatrics on the level of like well, not the level, but the type of like a Queen, where you're getting this
Mm-hmm.
dramatic thing, but it's
Yes.
still rock and roll at the same time. It's
It's
giving
it's
so
giving
big Queen vibes.
it's giving big Freddie Mercury energy here. But even the
Yeah.
lyrics are so great. Like, again, these were very relatable lyrics for me at the time. Tommy thinks the crazy is the back of my mind. Tommy says the children's are clouding my head. When everything is wrong, I dance inside my mind. That's when I come alive. Like a schizo running wild. That's when I come alive. Now let's go wild, right? So again, also giving us a little bit of let's go crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Literally.
but also, you want to see me crazy, taking my meds and wipe away the
Wait,
noises,
the
think I'm a
noises, you
mess,
think I'm a mess.
taking 6 feet under, but while your roses died, I
I come.
came alive. There's the War of the Roses theme again, right?
Yeah.
That is what she's talking about. Well, that's why it's in the parenthetical. I love a parenthetical in a track like this. There are other similar, not similar. There are other examples of that. So, "Buy You a Drink" by T-Pain is not just called "Buy You a Drink." In the parentheses is "Shawty snapping." People don't really think about that, but at the beginning of the song, he's saying "Shawty snapping."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so usually the parentheticals is not necessarily about like the overt theme in the lyrics. Sometimes it's about the thematic, the thematic elements in the lyrics.
Yeah.
Great use of parenthetical here.
When I think about this joint, I think for me, when I got it, I thought she was saying like, when everything is going wrong, just dance and let everything, you don't think about nothing else. And that's alive, because to be honest, when everything is going wrong, you need to do something. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, hey, everything go wrong, just dance and don't think about nothing, and everything is gonna be all right. That's what I got from this. You know what I mean? And then, like y'all said, she made the background she made it a little spooky a little bit. You know what I mean? Gave it that little
That's why it gave me the Rocky Horror Picture Show vibes, because of that spookiness. That's exactly why.
Yeah. Like, even towards the end, she's ad-libbing, she goes up, does that thing with her voice, she goes up and then starts screaming. Now, there's also something called scream therapy. I don't know if you all heard about that, where people are then asked to kind of scream it out, just start yelling, because it releases negative energy. Also similar to when people, this is something I have not done before, but people have done when they're dealing with rage issues, or when they have trouble expressing anger, which also might be at play here. I'm someone who has trouble expressing anger, because when you're brought up the way I was, anger is considered a no-no emotion, right? That's the one that will get you in trouble. But, being able to like smash things and like throw things, getting that anger out somehow. Because even in this, the lyrics themselves are kind of a little the frustration of anger. This person is saying that like, she's gone crazy again. Also the rage you feel when someone dismisses you as crazy. Right? Which a lot of Black women and femmes can experience. I'm so sorry, Elise. I know I took the words out of your mouth.
No. I'm teasing you. I love it. No, I literally wrote this song is about how to release anger.
Yeah. It's about releasing anger, and also anger that you feel when something is fucked up and everyone thinks, oh no, you're not, you're imagining things.
Right, like
also a response. Yes, a response to being gaslit. Right?
That's what it.
Yeah. So
what you like things with gas, you know what happened? That's when I come alive. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we get to Mushrooms and Roses, and I wrote in all caps, guitar. I love the guitar. Like jazz by horns, that's me with guitar. So I love this album because there's a lot of guitar things happening. But yeah.
I love this song. Like, first of all, it's beautifully composed. Just beautifully composed. You start with the strings. It's just, I'm a strings person. I love horns. The strings. I love a good string section, like a good chamber music. Give me that chamber music. I just love it. She is giving us another rock song. Is giving us a little bit of like psychedelic rock, as it were.
Yeah.
This song. So like when she talks about, when this album came out, there was some chatter talking about like, this is when people were like, wait a minute, what's she trying to say though? Who's she talking about? Because she talks about, she says, I remember one of the regulars, her long gray hair, beautiful smile and rosy cheeks. And then she says, her name slips my mind. Her name was Blueberry Mary, and she's crazy about me, right? So she's talking about this person. She gives the boys all her kisses and electricity. The golden door of their emotions open wide. Here they fall into her love and never have to hide. This is also giving us a little bit of Darling Nikki here, but this may be someone who, again, she admired from afar. I'm not going to speak for every queer Black girl, but there have been moments where maybe I've had a crush on someone who I knew wasn't interested, who I knew was not with that. but seeing how much people adored them, you know, in this instance, she sees that people adore her, and also like she's quietly adoring this person as well. We also see Mary come back. There's another reference to Mary on Queen, where she says something along the lines of, you know, am I going to hell because I was watching Mary?
Yeah.
I'm wondering still if Mary is based on a true story, if as it were. If there was perhaps someone in high school, I don't know, whoever that was, that, you know, young Janelle, you know, had a thing for. I don't know. But this is, yeah, it's just beautiful.
A line I really love from it is, "We're all virgins to the joy of loving without fears." Bitch!
Oh,
Bitch!
Bitch!
Like, what are you doing to me right now? The writer in me is like losing her fucking shit. Like,
yeah.
Did y'all see that?
Like the golden door again, that also the refrain of the golden door of her emotions, right? The golden door of our emotions opens here, right?
Mm-hmm.
An open door free.
Yeah, you know, and then says that we're all virgins to the joys of living without fear. When she says we here, also remember this takes place in some aspects in some kind of asylum or facility that she then broke out of. I'm wondering, it almost feels like, was she in group therapy with people who had the same affliction? You know, like also the metaphor of queerness as a disease, queerness as an affliction, not necessarily that they think that they are afflicted, but in the ways that it is so that they are socialized into thinking about their own identity.
Right.
You know, this idea of like fugitive on the run, you know, but on the run from herself, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And then we slide on into our next little intermission, you know, go, have a glass of wine, go stretch, say hey to the people in the theater.
We need
overture.
Shoot.
We
need another release. Like, I feel like every one of her interludes are like releases from what you just dealt with. You know what I'm saying? 3 songs that we just dealt with. That shit done took you through so many emotions, and then coming out of Mushrooms and Roses, you know what I'm saying? To me, that string brings the emotion.
Yes.
That's an emotion that another instrument can't give.
It can't.
And I feel like the string on this, it's like a release, yo. Like, she knew, like y'all said before, Janelle knows when you need to be like, all right, let me go get a glass of wine. Let me get my shit together. What the hell I just dealt with? Like, this was a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you come from Omega, Come Alive, and then Mushrooms and Roses.
Listen, that 3-song sequence,
crazy.
Damn.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's
it is insane.
It's
like
fucking nuts.
It's insane. Like, I love this overture because also giving a little bit of Disney, you know, with the vocals, you know, classic Disney though. So I'm talking like Cinderella and them, you know, very classic kind of like whimsical scoring. Big Hans Zimmer energy over here. Again, she's also showing you her not just like her vocal influences, like singer-songwriters, but also composers, right?
Yeah.
And another reason I love this album so much is I'm a huge classical fan. Like I have one section of my record collection that's just orchestras and all kinds of shit, and symphonies and blah blah blah.
When you went to the bathroom, I felt that part.
He was. See, I'm not a curmudgeon album collector where I want people touching my shit. I do want you touching it. I want you listen to it. I play this shit and you can play it too, baby. Don't be scared. I ain't one of them. They not for decoration. I play these motherfuckers. But yeah. but the overture, what I like Lauren, like you were saying, it's like very whimsical, old school Disney. And then at the end where they're kind of chanting the Neon Valley Street, the next song, and then it
Yeah.
transitions to it. I love that
Mm-hmm.
that transition into that. That was really cool.
Yeah.
And baby, Neon Valley motherfucking street.
Oh my
Another.
God. She did it again.
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 Gonna reach your heart right there.
Yeah.
But now I pretend I'm holding your hand.
Yeah.
With her, I can't use my words because it's so visceral. That I just want to be like.
Says, yeah, we met alone in the fruit. Because again, this is the rappers. Forbidden in the city, running fast through time like Tubman and John Henry. Again, giving Harriet Tubman and John Henry a place in this Afrofuturist world, right?
Yes.
John Henry, as we know, is we don't quite know if he was real, right? John Henry, in some ways, yes, is I will say a folktale. Folktales, as we know, are a big piece, and also like inspired by and also integrated into hoodoo. Okay, so we're getting this knowing that this is also this idea of an underground railroad in and of itself is also Afrofuturism. I do not have the academic range to write that essay, but I feel like that's what she's doing here. But the time was wrong, and Legal Alien Simone is such a pity that the city's just a danger zone. Again, this idea that like these people would be perfectly fine together if society would deem it so. If they would just leave us alone, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Atomic blues bombing hearts like Iraqis in Babylon. The droid control will take your soul and raid it, slay it. You hate it and debate it, but you don't get caught, an outlaw outrunning the law. So again, also, this verse is in some ways like the Greek chorus. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Again, reminding us that we are in the middle of a space opera here, and there is a fugitive. May the strings make you smile. May they always remind you of me.
Yeah.
May the song journey on for you. Yeah.
You know what that kind of made me think of? It kind of made me think of in the song For You. It's like, look inside the melody because my love is in there hiding. And that's what made me think the strings. It gave me that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep. Damn, y'all going in tonight. That's why I'm just oh God. I just for this, I was just like, I thought this was about a song being in love in a place where you can't, and you gotta pretend that you are, and let's just pretend because it's so dangerous. And I think to me, I was like, was she talking about, queer? Because y'all know in this world, it's dangerous to be together. And sometimes you got to pretend that you're not when you really are. And it sucks. It's completely unfair. Some places are just not safe. It's not. You know what I mean? And I think, like you said, now she was saying, we have an intruder. Something, we can't do this. Let's just pretend. Let's pretend. Let's pretend and hold your hand like that. That, again, Janelle's pen on this album was
fantastic.
Fantastic, yo. Like, it was just like, this is an album where you really got to get into the lyrics, and that's why this is another favorite of mine, honestly.
And what's so funny is it's not a very long song because after they get to the verses, you get they let the drum, they let the guitar and the beat just ride.
Do its thing.
You get these beautiful, oh my God, I love electric guitar. And I meant to look to see on the line and know who is playing that guitar because that shit is.
I think it was Nate.
Phenomenal.
Bananas.
Yeah.
Bananas.
Nathaniel off, boy.
Oh my God, he went off. I love me electric guitar. Good Lord.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we go on to Make the Bus.
Make the Bus
Mm.
Very much, she's giving us it's not my favorite song on the album.
Me
Definitely
either.
not my favorite song. But, she wanted to do what she wanted to do, what the hell she wanted to do.
Right.
It's probably the closest she gets on this album to David Bowie. But like not hunky dory David Bowie, more like Ziggy Stardust David Bowie. I wish she had given us more like hunky dory. Oh, Maker is probably closest to hunky dory there, but it's I like it, but it's not. I don't love it. I like the entire album. I love the album. I don't love this song. I like it okay. Again, similar theme here. Of someone who, again, she says, I've got a terrible sensation. Can't get it, can't get it off my mind. Don't really want to know it better, want to keep it in the realm of fantasy. So, like, again, this theme of running from themselves, right? Running from what they know their truth is. Janelle spends a lot of time running away on this album. And I think maybe that's why I relate to it so intently, because I was in a time in my life where I was running away from some things. So, and I'm not just talking about queerness necessarily, but like, running away from this new reality. I gotta leave all my family, friends, like chosen family, friends, career, everything behind, and come back to LA and start from scratch, and wanting to be somewhere else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it relates a lot to me because this was before. Was this before? It was close to the time. I can't remember if it was right before or right after, to where I went through my huge mental health crisis, to where I was in a psych hospital for a bit. Mm-hmm. And so it just relates to a lot of things for that realm. So it works in a lot of different spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then we go from Make the Buzz to Wonderland.
From this song all the way to the end, all favorites from me. all of them. This song's so 80s, yo. Wonderland is so 80s.
Very.
So pre-dirty computer, honestly.
Yes.
It's very airy. The production is very airy and like poppy, like you said. Yeah, 80s pop. Yeah, very poppy.
Bangles. Like, I would think of like the Bangles, like walk like the Egyptian type of shit. Like that.
Yeah.
Like it. But she's talking about sex. That's what's so.
Yeah. This shit is about an orgy. Very similar to Screwed. Let's Get Screwed on what's it called? Why am I blanking? Dirty Computer. Again, she's what I love about her album, her those first, 3 albums or 4 albums, really, if you also want to count Metropolis. How well she connects them all. Some have tried to do this, and they have not done it very well. I'm gonna just, like He Who Shall Not Be Named, try to do it with College Dropout, with Late Registration, with what came after Late Registration? No, with the Graduation. It didn't quite, in terms of it being
quite curl. Right.
Yeah, in terms of connecting the dots on those 3 albums, did not quite curl over. And that's probably why he abandoned it, because the 4th one was supposed to be Good Ass Job. So he couldn't connect them dots, okay? Janelle connects those dots in such a beautiful, like very elegant way. And so this is the precursor to Screwed. This is absolutely a sex party. It's fun. It's giving 80s, 80s pop. It's giving, it's giving designer drugs. It's, like I'm wondering and also Wonderland. What is Wonderland? Is Wonderland a strain of things? Is Wonderland a sex club or a dungeon? Is what it allows people to also imagine what this world is, and what it could be. every time I hear it, I'm like, well, damn, I want to go.
Then I like, she's like, your magic mind makes love to mine. Like, it's just cute,
Mm-hmm.
it's sweet, you
Yeah,
know.
it's really, really wonderful.
He
Also,
loves
again, uh, uh, giving us that android
us.
uh, uh, metaphor again. The fact that this person touched their wires, like, she's still using android, right, as an allegory for her, or I won't say allegory, as a metaphor for her queer identity.
Mhm.
And she even says as much when she does that profile piece in Rolling Stone. I'll never. It was so well written. I can't remember who was on that byline, but they're talking about how they talked to Janelle, and she was wearing a spacesuit at the time, and was crying a little bit. Talking that was the first image we have of Janelle in that profile piece, and she talks about how the android, the suits, etc., was all her trying to kind of you know um, make sense of her queer identity. That the android, she finally tells us, yes, she does a spoiler. Yes, the android, as it were, it was a metaphor for how I was working through my queer identity. So it's just, yeah, it's lovely.
Wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm. All
Damn.
right. Yeah. Then we move into 57821 featuring Deep Cotton.
Love this
Love it.
song down, dog. Like
Ethereal. It's just very
it's very
fantastical.
it's very
Yeah.
hauntingly beautiful to me. Like it is because this when I heard this took me back to when I was a kid to me.
Mm.
This is like
Mm.
because my mom is a big Jefferson Airplane, Mamas and the Papas. That's
Yeah.
her. And Fifth Dimension, that's her thing. And
Yes.
the whole song gives me that. Like I can see the
Mm-hmm.
Mamas and Papas doing this on the Ed Sullivan Show in like '67. Like I can really see them doing this on that. And it to me is
Yeah.
and the backgrounds on this. And it was just oh, and then when she's
Yeah.
Green down, this Mayweather will always be waiting for you.
Yes, so that's what I mean. Like it's that these two people, so Sir Greendown, and actually, I'm now thinking that Sir Greendown is Cindy talking about and talking to Sir Greendown, right?
Yep.
Um, you know, cold in the cell, lost and shivering, gunshots in the hallways unknown. On the fifth floor, past the blue door, set a chain 57821. Again, her prisoner number, right? Sir Greendown told his dear Cindy, fight like Achilles and Troy. I will show you the ways that I love you. I saved you so you'd save the world. Again, this also messianic metaphor here. This is allegory, right?
Right.
I saved you so you save the world because you're the one by one. It's your time, lead us back to one. So again, this idea of like, coming back to yourself, becoming one with God, because you see your full identity as divine, right? She is now being named, right?
Yeah.
It's just you really could do a companion piece if you will. You could see the I Am episode of Lovecraft Country
Yeah.
as a companion piece to this song.
Mm-hmm.
What a fan! Please watch that episode. If you don't watch no other episode of Lovecraft Country,
Yeah.
watch that one. Just this is just so beautiful. She is finally, you know, getting. They're always going to be we will always be waiting for you, your Cindy Mayweather, right? Like they're saying that, like, yeah, you're going to have to go on your own journey now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if
Yep.
you need us, again, these godlike images, these spirit guides, um, again, but it's like, um, uh, spiritual awakening, but then make it futuristic,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
Yes. And then we go. Sound like how she spaced out the tear jerkers. And then we go to Say Your Go.
Now, the favorite of all my favorites.
She, she spaced out all these tear jerkers. Like I already know because I know how they made me feel singing it. So I ain't gonna do that to you.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And then you know, I love the ode to Rocket Love, essentially. Like I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
it's like if you don't honor somebody or show how they took like do it like that. Be creative. Do something, you know.
Oh God, it's like she's taking you in this trance with her. Like that's what
Yeah.
I love about this. Trance with her, and you don't want to get out. Like listening to this album today while I was at work, I literally played this like 6 times straight.
Now
Like
this song, this is my own repeat song. I
yeah,
will listen to Say You'll Go. Again, the Girl Blue drum sample here is used in a really like beautiful way.
mhm.
The best samples are the ones in which the producer, whoever that producer is, makes it their own. When they do that cut and paste job, leave me alone. I just please do not play, because at that point you playing on my you're playing on my phone. Okay, you playing on my face. Do something different with the sample, please. Do not play with me. Like I just do not enjoy it. But what I like here is that again, all she needed to use was the drum, you know, and then whoever produced it, and I believe this was Nathaniel Irvin here,
Yeah.
Irvin, created a whole other soundscape with it, with the strings, also using her background vocals as another instrument. Here, the piano at the end. You know,
My
yeah.
favorite on this, and when she said love is not a fantasy. That
Finally for her.
finally,
love is not a fantasy for her. Oh,
it was like when I first heard and was going through, I was clapping like, yes, finally, like she could finally, you know what I'm saying? Like now it's real, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So
Haiku in Japanese.
Yeah, like even at the
not your little crusty haikus you be writing in your little English. No, it's a haiku in Japanese.
A word too often used but not believed. So now it's like, does she actually believe in love now? You know?
Right.
Yeah.
This let's bond forever and write our name and fire on each other's
hearts. Oh.
The pen again. Like
again.
Whoo.
Lord. Claude have mercy.
Yeah, and now I'm looking at the songwriters here. Yeah, Roman Irvin is also on here. I believe that's Roman John Arthur, who is a great songwriter in his own right. I wish we saw more from him. He has a great song that I just kind of like called "Real Love, No Shade." It's just a very happy little love song that I enjoy. But yeah, it's beautiful. But I love also at the end when they go into was it Claire de Lune? That little Claire de Lune at the end. Oh, this song is a lullaby. Actually, is what it is. We don't get enough lullabies in R&B. I wish we had more of them. The kind of songs that if you wanted to put your child to bed, you play. Very few songs exist like that. Special is one of them by what is his name? He goes by Dram now. Again, like that kind of very light, airy feel. A friend of mine, when he said that when his oldest daughter was very little, he would play that song and it would prompt her, oh, it's time to take a nap, you know? So that it has that light, airy quality of like, what comes to mind is like life is but a dream. You know, it's just, it's like, but at the end of this dream, she wakes up and realizes that like love is a real tangible thing that she can access that belongs to her. Oh, it's just,
right.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we have to say farewell to this album with our last track about Bayou. Which is so fun because it's like just big Broadway musical theater vibes.
Theater
like,
kid. Yes. It's a big song.
Yes.
Yeah. Big.
And it's fun. It's a fun song.
Also, it's a Bond. It's a Bond theme. Okay, like when When are
Totally.
they going to give Janelle Monae the Bond theme? Give her the Bond theme.
I agree. When
y'all gonna do that for me? So yeah, it's beautiful. It is just a very. She gives us a long goodbye on here. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And then to know that Nate's father actually did this in 1976, because I was looking at the story of. Yes, he said his father wrote this in 1976, and he went back to it. He was like,
wow.
There's a YouTube video of them talking about this song, and he said they just added on to it, and they added more things because he was raised on this, and then he brought it to everybody else, and they just added on their own stuff to it. So he was like, he was so glad that he could use this for the album because it was like he's heard this all his life. And then he brought it to Janelle and brought it to everybody, and they just added on to it. And that's why we got this record. I said, wow, this was done in 76, and y'all added on to this and created this amazing record. Powerful shit, yo.
That is such a cool fun fact.
I did not know that.
Cool. I didn't know that either.
Yes.
That's
I was looking at it a couple of weeks ago.
And I was like, love it even more off of that. Mm-hmm. But that's what Afrofuturism is about. Taking those things from the past, adding to it, and then making a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Come on, somebody.
No,
so that's so apropos. Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere on the internet, I think I saw it on YouTube, is also a live performance of her doing this with an orchestra, with a full orchestra.
She wearing her black.
Had a black gown on, and she got her bouffant, and it's now. I would watch this album with the symphony orchestra. So Nas has done it before. I believe Brandy was supposed to at the Kennedy Center. Young Jeezy just did a performance of, I can't remember was it Young Jeezy or Gucci Mane?
Yeah,
Young Jeezy.
Thug Motivation.
Yeah, I was supposed to go. I was really trying hard to go to that one, and just didn't work out for me. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see her get the symphony treatment at this point.
Yeah.
I think she could pull it off. Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, man, I would love. Like, even if we never got a movie, I would love a stage production of it.
Oh, I would go up for a Broadway production of the ArchAndroid. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be on the front row. I'd be doing what I got to do to get them tickets. You hear me?
Yeah. Like Janelle's a theater kid, you know. Mm-hmm. I really have a soft spot for the musicians who are former theater kids. I'm not saying that there are few of them, but there's a few of them. So, Duran, famously a theater kid, Lady Gaga. I almost want to say that Lady Gaga and Janelle Monae are more similar than they are different.
Yes.
Erykah Badu, also a theater kid. So when they bring those, she doesn't necessarily bring theater the way, well, in some ways she does, but there's something about the kind of theater kids who just can't let that theater kid shit go. I'm like, please hold on to that, because that is also what makes a good performer as well. You know, I don't like that we lose that. So that some artists lose that. It's okay to be a theater kid. Come on and give us full theater kid. You know. Yeah.
So we usually get a commentary to get like a summary, but today's word association, it's going to kind of do that a little bit. I'm going to do a little something different because we got you. We got you, so I'm going to switch it up, you know?
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 5 artists that Janelle, through the years and interviews, has said have influenced her. And I just want you to, what's the first song you think of to where you like, I see it.
Okay.
From Janelle. Okay.
Got it. Okay. This is cool. All right. I like this. Okay, let's do it. Right. I'm ready.
We are going to start out with, one co-executive producer and one half of Outkast. She has said that Outkast is an influence.
Hmm. The first song that comes to mind is Queen. Because
Yeah.
again, Janelle as rapping ass Janelle. Anytime we get rapping ass Janelle, we get Outkast. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yes. Good one.
Mm-hmm.
All right. She has cited Lauryn Hill as an
Oh,
influence.
Oh, this is easy. It's on Dirty Computer. I like that.
yeah.
I like
Ooh,
that.
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
it.
That's the
I like
one.
that. Even
Yeah.
the background vocals. I like
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. She has cited Erykah Badu.
I'm gonna think about this a little bit. Because this is actually a little harder.
At least you got me thinking too.
Damn. I gotta think about this one. I, I don't know what. No, I don't think it's that one. I'm gonna say Django Jane actually for this one. I'm gonna say Django Jane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oops. Off my page. Okay. All right. Grace Jones is another one.
Oh wow. Okay, Grace Jones. Um, the obvious answer is Wonderland, but nah, it's Come Alive.
Absolutely.
It's Come
Absolutely.
Alive. It's Come Alive. The way she uses her
Totally.
voice on there, it's Come
Ab-
Alive.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Like you nail head hit it.
Yeah.
That was so goofy. Sure. I wasn't a theater kid, but I should have been. And this one, it might be hard, but it might not be.
Mm-hmm.
She has said Michelle and Daggy Jones.
Ooh, I can see that. I need to think about what that looks like.
Oh, I think I got one. I think.
It's something from Dirty Computer for sure.
Okay.
I think maybe could be from. You know what? Dorothy Dandridge Eyes.
I'm fucking done. That's the fucking
Yeah.
song I think.
Another queer anthem, but yes, Dorothy Dandridge Eyes.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Yes. See, Lauren, you always shine, and I tried a new thing, and it worked, and you did it, and that was dope. I
Well,
like
thank
it.
you.
I
Thank
like
you.
you. Yes. So I'm gonna give you a space, Lauren. Are there any like remarks or just kind of what sums up the
Mhm.
discussion of this album or just anything that
Yeah.
you wanna
Yeah.
add to the
Yeah,
conversation?
Janelle is truly like I feel like we haven't even touched the surface of like how important of an artist she is. How they have how they have made Bad Boy work for them in a way that they're not working for Bad Boy. Hello. I'd love to know more about how that happened because yeah, she has had a level of longevity and also like freedom in her career in a way that a lot of Bad Boy artists have not. And we don't talk about that enough.
Mm-hmm.
Almost to the point where you forget that she was a Bad Boy artist. You know. I also think that I don't, in terms of music, because I know that she took a long break from music. I don't think God is through with her yet. I think that in terms of her production quality, her performance quality, um, it's very. I think it's safe to say that there's nobody else like her. When you think about the new girls, the new R&B girls, they're not quite hitting those kind of notes.
Mm.
And I don't mean that in a shady way. A lot of them seem to want to be Sade more than they want to be like, you know, a lot of these little wannabe Sade girls, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know. There are very few artists who can do the kind of creative performance, who have the same kind of theatrical quality to the way that they create albums, do not have the same um, level of world building. You know, very few people got the range that Janelle has, creatively. There are just very few people like that. I also think that folks don't take her seriously in some ways. Like, for whatever, I hear a lot of people, oh, it's so gimmicky. I'm like, have y'all ever heard a concept album before? Have y'all ever, like, okay, you know, um, yeah, you know, there just aren't the same. You know, I would say that she, you know, and if she had not come out if she had not come out as an or popped as an artist in the time that she did, she would have been ahead of her time. So I call that kind of like the J Davy paradox, where like J Davy would have blown up had they come out in 2010, 2012, 2010, right? They had fizzled out by then. They were popping around 2000, 2007, 2009. They were one of the few acts putting out good music during that time, but they were ahead of their time. I'll say the same thing about Khalees as well. She had some other issues going on at the time as well. She got screwed over by her label, etc., like a lot of young artists do. But she was also ahead of her time.
Yeah.
I'll put Joy in that same category, ahead of her time.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
And really,
a lot of these bitches is her son, her daughters.
Yeah, a lot of them. A lot of the R&B, a lot of the new girls. A lot of the new girls.
Yeah, I say all of them.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and now, like for instance, Kalila, I love Kalila. We don't get Kalila without Joy. I think frankly, we may not get Janelle necessarily the way we do without Joy. But she was ahead of her time. I was talking to someone who was a music writer at the time for a while in the Atlanta area, and he was like, "Look, you know, she is a fantastic artist who got caught up by by how limiting the music industry can be to somebody that has her kind of talent, you know." So yeah. So I could talk about this all day, but that's where I am with it. Just a phenomenal artist from a phenomenal album from a phenomenal artist that I think years from now we're going to say there was just nobody like Janelle Monae. So
yeah, great.
Yes. Thank you, Loryn.
Thank you for giving me the space to talk about this very, very important special album to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are glad you were here. It was amazing that your love was mine. So thank you.
Oh, I love you too, sis. Thank you. And thank you so much, JR. You know I love you very much. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah.
Yes. And if how can people find you? And where would you like to be found? Yeah, where would you like to be found?
Thank you. Because sometimes I don't want to be found. LW Carter is where you can find me on everything. That's on TikTok, Twitter if you're over there, Instagram, L like the magazine, W Carter, all one word, lowercase.
Yes. And me and JR will catch y'all on the next Catch That.